Welcome to a special Crawley Town episode of the Gull-Mouth Action podcast, where we take a look at all the latest goings on at the Reds. I'm Matt Pole, and this week I'm delighted to be joined by Red Devils expert Mark Dunford, and it's safe to say it's been a very busy week for Crawley Town. The Reds have announced 2 signings, bid farewell to 4 members of last season's squad, and discovered their itinerary for the upcoming 2025-26 League 2 campaign. This week on this special episode, we'll give you the lowdown on Crawley's 2 new faces, pick over the bones of those 4 departures as we mentioned, and highlight the key league fixtures the Reds have to look forward to next season. Mr. Dunford, thank you very much for joining us. Your head must be spinning after the week they've had at Crawley Town.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, you can tell the season is ramping up now. It's just the summer. I don't think it's going to get any quieter now. They obviously go to Spain next week, don't they? So
yes,
it's going to be, I think, a few more signings to come and probably people leaving. So it's just going to get busier and busier now up until August the 2nd. It's the kickoff of the season.
Better than twiddling your thumbs, isn't it? We'll talk about we'll talk about players in a minute, but we'll start with the main show this week has been the fixture list. That's been released today. We'll start with the key points. Who do they open and close their league season against, and what does their Christmas schedule look like? Is a lot of travelling that they have to grapple with this festive period, Mark, or is it looking okay?
It's not looking too bad. The opening game is the horrible trip to Grimsby, but you'd rather do it in August, I think, than you would in February, a cold Tuesday night in February in Grimsby or whatever. So, so Grimsby away, I mean, you'd rather be at home opening day of the season, but that's okay. They finish at home to Salford, which could be an interesting one. Both sides could be pushing for playoffs. Salford had a good season last year. I think they finished just outside the playoffs last year. Or did they just get into it? But so that could be an interesting one. But Christmas, because last year they had they had Birmingham at home just before Christmas. Then I think it was Leyton Orient away Boxing Day, and then they had a trip to Exeter on the thing, just horrible trips. Yeah. And I remember Scott Lindsay being a little bit grumpy about those, even though he wasn't actually there when they played those fixtures. But I remember when the fixtures came out, he was. But this year, the Saturday before Christmas, they go to Swindon, which isn't a bad trip. And then they have Colchester at home on Boxing Day, Bromley at home on December the 29th, and then Barnet away on New Year's Day. So a lot less travelling than they had last year. So, I mean, obviously Scott Lindsay will say that they're all tough games, etc., blah, blah, blah. But if you were going to ask Santa for a Christmas schedule, I think you'd ask for something like that. It's kind of, and obviously a good Christmas period sets you up for the second half of the season. So all signs point towards hopefully a good Christmas period and a good second half of the season for Crawley Town.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And as you said, I think if you can minimise travelling over that short amount of time, perfect.
Absolutely.
I'm sure
you can manage the squad much better, can't you?
Yeah.
And stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. And we've touched on those points, but which of the 5 fixtures you're most excited about? Obviously, Crawley have lost AFC Wimbledon, one of their great rivals, but I sense a rivalry with MK Dons might well and truly form this season, Mark.
It could, yeah. I mean, obviously, the last time they played each other, Crawley won 5-1 at Stadium MK, so in the playoff semi-final. And I think they're still a little bit bitter and humiliated by that MK Dons. So I think those 2 fixtures, the first one, they're both on Tuesday nights. First one at home on August the 19th, and the away trip is on February the 17th. Yes, obviously there's so much narrative, ridiculous amount of narrative in these games with the amount of players MK Dons have got from Crawley with Liam Kelly, Jay Williams, Lawrence Maguire, etc. And then obviously the whole Scott Lindsay saga. I don't think the fans took to Scott Lindsay particularly well at MK Dons because the results didn't go their way. So nothing than Scott did other than not win a lot of games. So, so that is going to be interesting how there's going to be a bit of needle, no doubt. And I've written a piece about 6 games to look forward to this year, so you can read that on Sussex World. But yes, I've put in there that it could be quite a tense atmosphere if there was an atmosphere at Stadium MK. So yes, that's going to be really interesting. But I'm interested by the Barnet games. I think the Barnet games will be interesting. They're back in the Football League. Not too far to go. I imagine there'll be big crowds at both games. And also Chesterfield as well. Crawley haven't played them for a few years. So They came up last year. They had a really good season, and I think they're one of the favourites to do well this year in League Two. So they'll be really good games. But the opening game, I think, is a chance for against Grimsby away. They had such a good away record when they got promoted, Crawley, and I think it was like the most away wins in a season, most goals scored away from home in a season. So that's one to really lay down a marker. I think everybody's going to be excited about the opening game. See what kind of team Lindsay puts out. Well, no, we're getting on to the goalkeepers, but who's going to be his number one, etc. Stuff like that. So, sorry, my screen's gone blank. Oh no, I'm back. So yeah, those sort of games, and then you've got like Notts County. They're always a big side come. I always remember when they beat Notts County 2-1 in that promotion winning season. The atmosphere that night was great. When Adi Adeyemo scored the winner. So yeah, no, there's lots of games to look forward to. I mean, essentially they've got to play everyone twice, and every game's vital, and they want to win every game. So, but there's always those little narratives in those, especially MK Dons this year. It's going to be great fun.
I know this is probably putting you on the spot a little bit, but who do you see? I know that Scott Lindsay has played down Crawley's potential promotion aspirations, but of the other clubs that are in the division, Mark, who do you reckon will be up there? I think Notts County and Salford, as you said, and Chesterfield aren't bad shouts, are they, for being up there?
I think they are, yeah. They're always going to be up there, those. But you always look, I mean, Grimsby had a good season last year. They finished 9th, I think, which is probably their best finish for quite a while. So I think they're one to look out for, sort of dark horses maybe. But I think you can't look past Chesterfield and Notts County and Salford, just because they've got the money, they've got the budget. Yeah. That doesn't always work out, as we've seen with MK. I was looking at the odds earlier, and MK Dons are the favourites. They're always favourites. Always the favourites, but look where they are. I mean, last season they had a very, very poor season. So, yeah, who knows if they get it right this year with the they've got in charge and that, and if they get the mix right with the players, they should be up there with their stadium, with their budgets, etc. They should be up there, but I don't know. I think they'll probably fail again, and it will be. My money's on Chesterfield to win the league this year.
But yeah, I hope they do. I went up there to cover Horsham against Chesterfield.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They're a lovely bunch down there, and Chesterfield is a beautiful place. So good luck to them. They've got my seal of approval, and as long as it's not the MK, I think as long as it's not the MK Dons, I think is the resounding opinion. But, we will see how it goes. Moving on to the player front now. Crawley Town announced the signing of Dan Cashman last week. Not to the surprise of many people, Mark, but we'll come on to that in a bit. The 24-year-old who joined the club following the expiration of his contract at Worthing has signed a 2-year deal. Yeah, not a surprise. We mentioned it last week's episode, didn't we? What's the reaction been to the deal, and what has Cashman had to say about the signing?
I think everybody's really excited about this signing. I mean, he's had a couple of really good seasons in National League South with Worthing, and he's young. There's potential there, but I think what people are just generally most excited about is that he comes from Crawley. So he's born here. He supported him as a kid. So I think that's what because people will know he will be playing for the shirt. I mean, everybody plays for the shirt when they come, but when you're born and bred Crawley, you just fans have that instant affinity with a player, and hopefully he will fit in. He's got a bit of personality as well, I think, and I think he's gonna excite the fans. And he's saying all the right things when he's come in. He said he feels like the perfect fit. I think I was just sort of finding myself again, enjoying playing football, and then coming to a place where I feel I can help the team and assist them with the manager and progress as a player and help push the team on. So that's what he's hoping to do. And he said it's always nice when you go to a new club and you've got some familiar faces. I think he mentioned Dion Conroy and another player as well. I can't remember which one, sorry. But so he's already got friends here, and that's always helps if he can fit in with the team instantly. And then we'll see what he's like in the friendlies. But I think he will play a big part this season. Him and Harry McCurdy, I think the two players fans should be really excited about, and could be some goals between them this year.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Sticking with incomings, the Reds just today have signed highly rated goalkeeper Harvey Davies on a season-long loan from Premier League champions Liverpool. It sounds like an exciting prospect by all accounts, Mark. Tell us a little bit about the 21-year-old and what does this mean for the Reds' goalkeeping department? I know they burnt through goalkeepers last season, didn't they? Is this with an idea to maybe have him as the settled number one, or what do you reckon?
Yeah, so yeah, eight keepers they used last year due to injuries, international call-ups, everything. It was ridiculous, really. There was a few hit and misses. Toby Stewart was particularly good, I thought, at the end of the season. Shame they haven't brought him back, but with Harvey Davis, it looks like a really good signing. He's, like you said, he's really highly rated. He's been at Liverpool since he was 9, and he's featuring consistently for the youth teams in Merseyside. He regularly trains with the first team and faces shots from the likes of Mohamed Salah, Luis Diaz, and other international stars on a daily basis. So you'd like to think he's got some pedigree. I mean, he's played at England at under 19 and under 20 levels as well. And he's got a bit of experience at this level as well. He made 32 appearances for Crewe in all competitions in a 23-24 season. So they're not just getting a youngster and he doesn't know what League Two was all about, which is absolutely key. And to answer your question, he's got to be the number one, hasn't he? I would have thought. Jojo Wallacott had a mixed season last year. He's still with the Reds, but with this signing, I would have thought he will be number one. And Ryan Sanford, we're going to get onto him. He signed a new contract. So at the moment, they've got 3 keepers. I imagine Lindsay would be delighted to have 3 keepers. But I can't see past Harvey Davis not being number one. He looks absolute quality. And they've got a good track record with under 21s from Liverpool with James Balagizi. We all remember him. I mean, he played in the Kevin Betsy side before he was recalled home. So he didn't have much success in terms of team results, but he was exceptional. So, I mean, anyone who's going to be from Liverpool's academy, and that's you'd imagine was going to be quality. So, yeah, it looks like a very, very good signing, and hopefully he will be settled for the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'd agree with you there about Davies being the number one. It's the experience because did he play for Crewe in the playoff final against Crawley Mark?
No, he didn't, unfortunately. No, so we didn't get to see him there. But yeah, I mean, playing 32 games at this level, he'll know what it's all about. It's probably a lot more physical, but being an academy Premier League player, he'll play the kind of football Scott Lindsay wants. He wants someone who's good on the ball, plays it out from the back like a lot of Premier League sides do in that. So he seems like he'll be the perfect fit for Lindsay's side.
Yeah, I think it's a canny sign in that one. But despite these incomings, Crawley have also seen a plethora of players depart since our last podcast. Starting with Armando, who joined League One side Wycombe Wanderers on a permanent transfer for an undisclosed fee. The 25-year-old netted 7 goals in 38 appearances for the club last season. What was the prevailing mood from the supporters about this departure, Mark? I remember him being linked away to it was an Argentinian club in January. So did this come as much of a surprise that he'd left?
I don't think it did. Reaction-wise, it's been a bit sort of mixed. I mean, there was times where he was brilliant last season. He scored a lot of goals early. Then he had a couple of injuries, but it was around January, I think. As if a player looks like he wants to leave the club, fans turn on you straight away, don't they? So I don't think there was too many people shedding many tears here at Armando leaving. It was Club Atletico Talleres was the
that's it.
Team. He was videoed having a medical there. So I don't know. I don't think anyone had really found out why that deal never got done. But I don't. He will be missed because he is a game changing player. He's brilliant on the ball. Can score from free kicks, penalties. Good dead ball taker. Very quick, very skillful, but maybe more of a League One player than a League Two player. I don't know. So I don't think he'll be hugely missed. But any player that leaves means fans are going to be looking for another player to come in. So if he leaves and we don't get a like for like replacement, then you start to worry a little bit. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised by the reaction because the fans didn't seem overly bothered by it.
Yeah, well, just a day later, Panucci Kamara left the Reds. The midfielder, who was in his second spell with the club, rejected the offer of a new and improved contract and activated a relegation release clause in his contract, which allowed him to join Scottish Premier League side Dundee United on a permanent deal. I must admit, I was surprised to see him join a Scottish Premiership club, Mark. I don't know what you make of that move, and what did you make of Kamara's second spell at the Broadfield Stadium in general?
Well, no disrespect to Panucci, but I think that shows the level of the Scottish Premiership. The fact that he's going there. I mean, he's a good player, and he had he struggled to begin with this season. He came back to great fanfare. Fans were really excited, and he was in and out of the side. And then he not so much with when Rob Elliott came in. He was more of a substitute and came on, and he was mixed. But the last few games under Lindsay is like Rashaan Hepburn-Murphy, Panuccio Camara, all sort of came to the fore. And Scott Lindsay's obviously a big fan of him, and they obviously wanted to keep him. Like you say, he turned down a new and improved deal, so it's a shame he has gone. But I suppose if you get the opportunity to go to a top level in any country, you're going to go to it, aren't you? And you'd like to think they've got some good money for him, although his relegation clause, so you don't know how much he would have gone for. But I was a little bit sad because he's a great character, and when he's on fire, he's really good. There was a couple of games towards the end of the season where he was electric. Him and Rashaan Hepburn-Murphy, like I say, were linking up, and he was great. But I think Scott will be a bit upset. I'll hopefully speaking to Scott later, so I'll be asking him about it. And it'll be interesting to see what his views are on the players that have left, how disappointed he is. So, sad to see Panuccio go. And I think if you were going to ask fans which one they are sad about, I think it would be Panuccio. But they don't grudge him. He's always been a fan favourite. And he was the one holding up Ken Blackmore's shirt at the end of the game, the game after Ken Blackmore sadly died and that. So, big fan of Panuccio. And, didn't have the greatest of seasons, but he had some real good moments.
Yeah, it sounds like he was a popular player amongst the supporters. Crawley then bid farewell to defender Rory Feely, who has moved to Irish Premier Division side Cork City on a permanent transfer for an undisclosed fee. Feely had only been at the club 6 months before his departure, so I can't imagine there were too many tears shed about his departure. Mark, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, not a surprise at all. I just don't. He didn't feature at all. I don't think when after Lindsay returned, he might have been on the subs bench, but he certainly didn't play any games. The first game he started was when they lost 4-1 away at Lincoln City, and I watched that game, and he wasn't very good. And I think at the time, and it's probably a little bit unfair on him, I made comparisons to Mark Wright's league debut professional league debut, should I say, against Harrogate Town. And Mark Wright, let's not get on that. Out of his depth. Ridiculous. Yes. But, he's not as bad as that because he's had a reasonably good career, Feely, but he just didn't seem to fit in at Crawley, and it didn't seem like a Scott Lindsay kind of player. So, I don't think anyone was too surprised or too upset that he's gone.
Well, in contrast, I think arguably the biggest blow came this week when hugely popular midfielder Jeremy Kelly announced his departure. He's left the club to pursue opportunities closer to his home in the United States, and Kelly was reportedly offered a new contract to further extend his time at the Broadfield Stadium, but chose to explore options closer to home. Big blow, Mark, that one. How much of a dagger through the heart is that one? Because he was, not only was he popular, which is always a bonus, but he was brilliant, integral part of that midfield, wasn't he?
He was. I love watching Jeremy Kelly play football. He's just he's just some of the best feet you've seen. At any level, really. Just how quickly he controls it, how he turns on a sixpence. And I remember Scott Lindsay saying quite early on, he seems to be quicker on the ball than he is off the ball, and he was. If he got the ball on his feet, he would just jink round players. He was fantastic. So it's a real big blow. I got the impression quite early on when I was speaking to Scott about these player negotiations that he was a bit frustrated that nobody had signed early, and the fact that he didn't sign straight away did make you worry that because he clearly loved the club, and the club have done great things for him as well as him doing great things for the club. He put his name on the map, but I don't know. You get the impression he may be a little bit homesick. He's looking to go back to the US. He could play. I think he could play a higher level, much higher level in the UK, let alone in America. But playing in the MLS is quite a good standard now. It's getting better and better, isn't it, with the likes of Messi, etc., and all that. So, real sad thing to go. He was just such a big part of that. I always forget that he only came in halfway through that promotion-winning season. But he had such an impact. Fans straight away. Well, I remember when he signed. Oh, they're only getting him in because he's American, the American owners and all that. Ridiculous. But he won them over very quickly, and he was just such a nice person to interview as well. remember speaking to him on Thanksgiving Day in a preview to a game, and he was just so happy. But when you spoke to him and you talked about Thanksgiving, you got the impression, he missed his family, missed being in America for that moment, kind of thing. So maybe that. I think that was a big part. I don't think it was anything to do with Crawley Town, not wanting to be at Crawley Town. I think it was more about wanting to be back in the US.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I had a quick look at the Crawley Town website about his departure, and it said that the club hold no animosity to him for leaving, which must just show
all, doesn't it?
Yeah, must be a top bloke, Jeremy Kelly. So we wish him all the best of luck.
Best player in the world, as Scott Lindsay famously said.
Best player in the world.
And Crawley Observer Player of the Season last year as well.
That's the one everyone wants, Mark. That's the big prize. Exactly. The big fish.
I've got to try and think of some Ballon d'Or pun that we can... No, it does nothing to do with Crawley Observer and Ballon d'Or. Ballon d'Observer. Ballon d'Observer?
Yeah, that's actually not too bad.
Let's introduce that next season.
Ballon d'Observer, I like that. I think you better use that next year. We're very disappointed if you don't. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Some good news for the club after all those departures. Harry Forster, Joy McKenna and Ryan Sanford, who we have briefly touched upon, have penned new deals. Forster and McKenna have both signed 1-year extensions, while Sanford has committed for a further 6 months. Should be pretty happy with those, I think. Mark, what did you make of that? Good to see them commit, albeit in the short term.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's good to have those players and that consistency in the squad going forward. Harry Forster and Joy McKenna both signed on the promotion-winning season. Both as sort of youngsters with potential, and Scott Lindsay used them brilliantly in that year. I remember Joy McKenna particularly. He was used initially in the EFL Trophy and really shone in that back three. And then when Dion Conroy got injured and there were other injuries, he stepped up. And because of those games in the EFL Trophy, which they got quite far in that season, quarterfinals, I think it was, before they were knocked out by Peterborough, he was able to step up into those league games, and he didn't look out of place at all. He got a bit of a freak training ground injury last season, which ruled him out. But again, he started really well last year, again with injuries to Dion Conroy, Josh Flint when he got injured. But I think we were saying last week about because we were talking about Toby Malarkey leaving. If all of Crawley Town's defenders fit, it's quite a tough choice for Scott Lindsay who he picks. I mean, I know he'll have in his mind who he picks, but if Dion Conroy, who we're going to get onto, stays on, and Josh Flynn and Charlie Barker, etc., it's a really good lineup and competitive for that back three. Harry Forster, such an exciting player when he's on form. Scott Lindsay said when he signed, he's the kind of player that'll get fans out of his seat when he's on the ball, and he does. He runs forward. He scored a great individual goal. Was it last season in the EFL Trophy against Wimbledon? I think or was it previous season? He skipped around loads, ran from the halfway line, skipped around a load of players. He is that kind of player, very exciting. But again, he was a little bit plagued by injuries last year. And Preston Johnson referred to the injuries and saying it'd be unfair to just let them go because of the injuries they've had. I mean, you shouldn't just, out of sympathy, give players new contracts. Yeah. But we know what they can do, Forster and McKenna. And I think they deserve their new contracts, and they will be a key part again for Scott Lindsay. And Ryan Sanford, someone we haven't seen at all because of injuries. We saw him warming up towards the end of last season. We thought he might be fit towards the end of the season, maybe get a couple of games when Crawley were doing emergency loans all over the place. But we've got no idea what he's like. But again, he's been given a chance, and you'd imagine, depending on how it all goes with Wallacott, etc., Davis number one, Sanford probably playing the EFL Trophy games, or between Sanford and Wallacott, depending who. So that'll be an interesting one. But yeah, no, it's good for squad numbers to have that consistency. Players that know Lindsay, players that know a lot of the players in the squad. So there is a lot of more consistency in this squad so far this season than we've had in previous summers.
Yes, absolutely. And you've mentioned the EFL Trophy three times there, I think, in the space of you describing that. It's the tournament every
more than
boy
anyone's
wants to
ever talked about the EFL Trophy.
Yeah, it's the trophy that every player is desperate to win. We've had two of the clubs that Crawley have faced have been drawn out. The third and final one is the Academy team, which will be drawn at 2:30 in Sky Sports News. But tell us who they've Which Football League clubs have Crawley got in their group so far, Mark? It's without giving too much away, it's a pretty horrible draw for Crawley.
Oh, it's horrible, but at the same time, could sort of play in their favour because it's Leyton Orient and Peterborough. Leyton Orient obviously just missed out on promotion, losing the playoff final to Charlton. So you'd imagine they'll be pushing for promotion. So is the EFL trophy going to be important to them? Probably not. Peterborough, though, on the other hand, seem to love the EFL trophy.
Yes.
Won it last, beat Birmingham and pulled off a shock in the final last year. And Crawley were knocked out by them in the quarterfinals a couple of years ago, but completely outplayed them. They were brilliant. I remember speaking to Alan Swan from the Peterborough Telegraph, reporter up there, and he was so impressed with Crawley that night. He was like, "You're getting promoted this year," and it turns out they did. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, because you get the academy team you play at home, no matter what, and then it's a case of which one of the other two you play away. And you want Peterborough at home, Leyton Orient away, don't you? Just for that travelling, because nobody wants to go to Peterborough on a Tuesday night for whatever reason. So so it's a tough draw on paper, but you'd like to think because I can't remember how it works. It's I think it's one team goes through and then the best placed second team, the top two go through and then the best placed third team, go through, etc. So if they get Peterborough at home, if they don't take it at 6, because Peterborough are a team who struggled in League One, last year, disappointed really. They had a good run that got them out of relegation trouble at one point. You think they'll be looking for? They're a big side. They've always got championship ambitions. Leyton Orient, like we said, I imagine they'll be going for it next season. So you'd hope they put out weakened sides. Crawley obviously haven't got the academy, haven't got under 21s. They'll have a squad and they'll use squad players within it. But Lindsay took it seriously that season before last and it paid off for them. And I think he'll do the same this year.
And if you're into that sort of thing, you can see what academy team Crawley have drawn at around 2:30 on sussexworld.co.uk/.
If you're a football pervert, Matt. If you're a
football pervert.
I love that kind of thing.
I'm assuming that we've played. Who do you remember which under 21s they've not played yet? I know it was Brighton last year, wasn't it? If they played Tottenham or Arsenal or Chelsea yet, that'd be good for them if they have.
It would be great to get one of those teams. They've had Aston Villa a couple of times.
Yes.
And I remember them absolutely battering Aston Villa 5-1 or something like that one year. But that would be great to get a Chelsea and Arsenal or a Tottenham, someone like that. I think West Ham they had one year as well, maybe.
All right.
That might be wrong. But yeah, it'd be great to have a London club, Crystal Palace, something like that. That would generate a lot more interest, wouldn't it, than Aston Villa or someone dull like that.
As you can tell, we're all thoroughly excited for the EFL Trophy draw. So, yes, keep your eyes peeled. And final one for this week, going all the way back to contract extensions. Do we have any news regarding Dion Conroy and Liam Fraser, Mark? Of the players that we've mentioned, those are the only two who are mentioned in Crawley Town's retain list whose futures haven't been resolved. Do we have any news whatsoever?
I've had no updates. Like I say, I'm hoping to speak to Scott this afternoon. So hopefully get some kind of updates. So keep an eye on Sussex World if there is. But yeah, Dion Conroy is an interesting one because he is Scott Lindsay's general. He's his club captain. He loves. I remember when he came back from injury and that everyone else was fit, and I said, "Oh, is there going to be a bit of a selection headache?" No, if Dion Conroy's fit, he plays. That's what Scott Lindsay said. So he is such a calming influence and so good on the ball in that centre of the back three. So I imagine Lindsay wants him, but has Dion Conroy done what he wants to do at Crawley Town? Has he got a taste for League One again after playing there last season? So who knows? But we've got no indication. Liam Fraser, I don't know. I get the impression again it might be a case that he wants to go back
because he's Canadian, isn't he?
He's Canadian, US, Canada, playing the MLS maybe. I was so impressed with him when he played, and it would be great if Crawley could have him. I think he would dominate midfields in League Two. Just again, another really just calm on the ball, breaks up play well, uses the ball efficiently, no frills about him. He just gets on with it. And that's the kind of play you need in that centre of that, in that pivot role in midfield. But who knows? I imagine they're working hard to try and keep both of them. But my instinct would say maybe Conroy stays, Fraser goes, doesn't stay.
Watch this space. Well, thank you very much for joining me this week, Mark, for this very special Crawley Town episode. You can catch up with all the latest sports news covering everything we've talked about today at sussexworld.co.uk/sport, and you can watch more excellent videos on shotstv.com and Freeview Channel 262. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, Matt.